Hello, my name is Aaron. I do rants and reviews, and I've been hinting at this video for a while. This is my 1-year review of the Google Pixel 3. Alright, so this is going to be a fairly lengthy video. I will do my best to put chapter markings so you can follow along, and I have been using this phone for about a full year now. So these are not just conclusions I've come to after a week of messing around with it. This is a long-term review. Now I wanted to start off by answering the question of why a Pixel 3? It's an older phone, but I just got it new in box last year. So why a Pixel 3? Well, the Pixel 1 and 2 don't have wireless charging, and I wanted wireless charging. The Pixel 4 did not have a fingerprint sensor, and I don't want to use Face Unlock for anything. So that was a no. And the Pixel 5 was the newest one at the time. I believe the 6 had just been announced, but not yet released. And the Pixel 5 had those features, but it was also the most expensive since it was the newest model at the time, which leaves the Pixel 3. A wireless charging, NFC, fingerprint sensor, basically everything that I wanted. And for a much cheaper price, even though it was new in box, it's still a few years old, so I was able to pick it up pretty cheap. So that's why I got a Pixel 3 and not something else. Also, the Pixel 3 is the last phone to include unlimited Google Photos storage. It's not at the highest level, but it's still unlimited Google Photos storage, and Pixel 3 was the last phone to do that. So just seemed like a good buy for the price and features. Now, let's go ahead and get into what came in the box. I won't go over everything since I did that in an unboxing video, but in the box you get your standard just paperwork and whatnot. You get stickers, you get these headphones. They're USB-C, which is nice, and I tried them out, but they're honestly not as comfortable as they looked. They looked great, but after using them just once or twice, they really just, even adjusting the loops and everything, they just really hurt my ears, and I didn't like that. And then you have your standard USB charger. I haven't taken this out yet because I just use the wireless charging and it works fine for me, but you get a charger and all that should you need it. So there's that. I guess that cable would also be useful if you plan to hook your phone up to a PC. So there is that. And now onto the phone itself. So here's the phone. I have it in this shields up wallet case, which is really nice. I reviewed that earlier, so you can check out that video in the link there. But we're not here to review the case, so let's ditch this and bring out the phone. So the build quality is nice. It feels good in the hand. I'm not a fan of the glass back because, again, just durability. It makes no sense to me. Now, I know they did it for the wireless charging because if you want wireless charging on a phone, you have to have either a plastic or a glass back, and Google decided that they didn't want to have plastic because that's cheap, even though they did that on the Pixel 5, but whatever. So I wish the back wasn't plastic, but again, I don't really see this because I keep it in the case. This is the not pink color. Depending on the lighting, it might look more pink, it might look more white, off-white, but it's good. I have noticed a few chips, if you will, just kind of around the edges. It's kind of hard to tell, but right there, you might be able to see that it looks like the glass or the aluminum border is just kind of chipped along the edge. But anyway, sorry about the focus there. Okay, so yeah, I'm not expecting this to fall apart, and it's been doing well as far as that's concerned. The camera is good quality. I'm not one to oogle over just ridiculous specs. So this does the job for me. I'm not a professional photographer, and if I was, I wouldn't use a phone. I would have a dedicated DSLR. So I really don't get all the hype about phone cameras. It's just a point and shoot for me, and for that it works. I also like the fact that it's just a single camera and not just a bionicle eye formation of sensors and whatnot. I mentioned the fingerprint sensor. I really like its location. It's a lot better than having it on the front. I'm not sure about this having it in the screen. I'm not sure how I would like that, but I do like having it on the back and just being able to unlock my phone really quickly. The power button and the volume sliders are there, and sorry, there's this fuzzy on here and I keep trying to take it off, but it's stuck on there. It's part of the case. Anyway, now I have noticed that the screen is fairly difficult to see in bright light. I've also noticed that in direct sunlight, you're not going to see it here because this isn't direct sunlight, but in direct sunlight you'll get some blue kind of fuzzy corners. I'm not sure what that's from. I assume it's just the way that the screen is attached, but you'll get some just kind of fuzzy blue borders around the corners in direct sunlight when your brightness is up. So the screen is nice. It's really beautiful. It's an OLED screen, not nearly as pretty as my Nexus 6, but the Nexus 6 is honestly just pretty hard to top. It's a beautiful phone, and this is good, but could be better. I believe the pixel density is a little bit lower than the Nexus. And as far as form factor, I really like the form factor. This is probably my preferred size of phone. Some of them have just keep getting bigger and bigger, and this is actually a good size. It's a bit narrower than the Nexus with about the same size screen, but yeah. Now, one thing I don't like about the hardware is the battery capacity. It's too short. I used to be able to get about 2 days out of this on a full charge. Right now I'm kind of struggling to get a full 2 days out of it. I might get about a day and a half worth. And if you get the Pixel 3 XL, you get a larger battery with that, but you also get a notch, and the notch is hideous, so I wasn't willing to sacrifice aesthetics for bigger battery. I would prefer the aesthetics of this phone. So I think I covered about everything with the hardware. Let's go ahead and move on to the software. Now, the Pixel 3 can be upgraded to Android 12. As you can see, mine is still on Android 11 for a few reasons. One, because I want my control center to actually be useful. Seriously, the new control center is atrocious. I don't know who decided that it was a good idea to just put 4 buttons up here, but that's terrible. I want my control center to be usable. I also want the 2-button navigation. Honestly, 2-button navigation is probably one of the best things that Google has come up with for Android. I have no idea why this is not in newer versions of Android. So just to show an example, let's pull up a few apps here. We're on airplane mode, so we won't see a whole lot here. Oh, this is Google Play. It still works, by the way. I'll probably do a video on how to use that in the future because Google Play Music was superior to everything else. So with the 2-button nav, you can just swipe up to view all of your things, all your open apps. You can also just swipe left and right to jump between things. And the back button it will appear if needed. It's contextual. And also the button will show up over here based on need. So let's see if it does it on YouTube. So right there, the rotate button shows up just as a context if you need it. And this is so much easier to use than the stupid pill button than the stupid swipe navigation, because whenever I'd use that, I always end up just summoning the Google app or doing something wrong. It's way too sensitive. This is so much quicker and easier than the 3-button nav or the single swipe gesture menu thing. Anyway, so that's why. Oh, and the third reason is because I get a cat Easter egg. Look at that. Let's take a look at the cats. So I can collect cats. You can't do that on Android 12, can you? Yeah, so you can upgrade it to Android 12. I've kept it on Android 11 because I think it's better. So yeah, as far as the software is concerned, I haven't had any hiccups with that. It does a decent job connecting to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Haven't had any issues with that. My carrier is Mint Mobile, and there's been a couple hiccups, but I think they've primarily been on the carrier end, and for the most part, it's been great. Before that, I was using Project Fi, and it also worked just fine on that. So yeah, I think that covers most of the software. It comes stock with your standard Android suite of apps, and that's one of the things that I like about the Pixel phones is that they're no nonsense. You just get stock Android and no fluff, no bloat. Now, I think Motorola is probably the second closest to the Pixel as far as no bloat is concerned. Motorola usually does a really good job kind of skinning Android to look generic and as streamlined as possible. Generic's a bad word for that, but Motorola does a good job adding features and not just covering things up with a useless skin. But Pixel is definitely the pure Android experience here. So there's that. I think I covered just about everything. I'll have a full list of pros and cons here at the end of the video. Mainly just the battery life is the biggest con, but I like the features, the NFC. It doesn't have a headphone jack, regrettably, or an SD card slot, but I'm relatively minimalist when it comes to my apps, so I'm not worried about filling everything up. And yeah, I think that just about covers that. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed the content, I'd suggest checking out a few other videos and consider subscribing if you like what you see. Once again, my name is Aaron, and I hope to see you again in another video. Take care. Bye.